Emmerdale fans were left amazed after realising that Andrew Scarborough had appeared in a rival soap over 2 decades ago. The actor joined the ITV drama in 2017 as Graham Foster, a character who immediately began causing chaos in the village. Graham was later thought to have been killed in 2020 by Pierce Harris, the aggressive ex-partner of Rona Goskirk, just as Graham and Rona had started a relationship. However, a Corriedale episode aired this January revealed a major twist, confirming that Graham had survived and had lived under the radar for years. His return has sent shockwaves through the village, especially for Kim Tate, his former lover, and Joe Tate, whom Graham once raised as both a guardian and a surrogate father. In Friday's episode, Kim was livid when she learned that Joe had allowed Graham to stay at home farm. Still, after receiving level-headed advice from Joe's partner Dawn, Kim softened her stance and agreed to let Graham stay. While Graham seems certain to bring more drama to Emmerdale, it's clear that Andrew is no stranger to soap roles. Viewers have recently discovered that he previously appeared in Coronation Street, much to their excitement. Andrew starred in the Manchester-based soap between September 2000 and August 2001, playing Harvey Reuben, a factory owner and temporary manager at Underworld. A nostalgic photo from his Coronation Street days was recently shared on an Emmerdale fan Facebook page. The post was captioned, "One for the ladies, lol, Andrew Scarborough as Harvey and Corrie, lol." Many fans were clearly impressed, with one commenting, "He's definitely aged like fine wine." Another wrote, "No way." A third added, "He's even more attractive now than before. I love Graham and that sexy voice." Another admirer remarked, "He's aged incredibly well." Reflecting on Graham's surprise return, Andrew previously admitted, "I never saw it coming. That said, I always felt there was a chance Graham could come back." When asked about keeping his comeback secret from family and friends, the 52-year-old explained, "Oh yes, it was a huge secret, and I kept it from most of my family, which wasn't easy." He later revealed who he had told, adding, "Only a very small number of people knew. You could count them on one hand. Some cousins even messaged me after it aired saying, 'You sod.'" Kim is firmly put in her place by an unexpected figure during a tense Emmerdale confrontation. Dawn Taylor laid down the law in tonight's episode as she stepped in to calm 2 feuding villagers, and, for once, they weren't her kids. Graham Foster returned to the Dales this week, originally intending only to see Rona Goskirk. However, he soon made his way to Home Farm to reveal the shocking truth about his survival to both Kim and Joe Tate. Joe was overwhelmed with emotion afterwards, confronting Graham about the pain he caused by faking his death for 6 years. He explained how learning about Graham's supposed murder shattered him, with his grief eventually leading him down a path of drug addiction. Although Graham attempted to apologize, his words failed to undo the damage he had caused. Determined to show that he wanted nothing more to do with him, Joe reported Graham to the police. Since Graham hadn't technically broken the law by letting people believe he was dead, and with allies quietly supporting him, he was released. He returned to the village, but later admitted to Rona that staying might not be the right choice. Meanwhile, Joe spoke openly with Dawn about Graham's return and the complicated role the man still plays in his life. Dawn encouraged Joe to give Graham another chance, advice he eventually chose to follow. In tonight's episode, Joe opened up further to Graham, sharing more about his relationship with Dawn. Both men were equally surprised when Joe described Dawn as the one. Proud, pleased, and deeply moved, Graham smiled as he recognized how far Joe had come over the past few years. While Joe gradually began accepting Graham's presence, Kim remained adamant that he didn't belong in the village, let alone under her roof at Home Farm. This time, however, Kim wasn't the one making the final decision. After speaking with Graham, Dawn noticed him deliberately provoking Kim. She told him to stop before firmly suggesting to Kim that, for Joe's sake, she could rise above the situation and allow Graham to stay. The so-called Ice Queen eventually backed down, leaving both Graham and Joe stunned that Dawn Taylor had managed to put Kim Tate in her place. Reflecting on his surprise return, actor Andrew Scarborough said, It was incredible that the secret stayed under wraps. I honestly expected it to leak, especially since I'd been filming for 2 months before appearing on screen in Corriedale, and I knew I was coming back another 4 months before that. All in all, I kept the secret for 6 months. He added, in every script and piece of paperwork I was referred to as Bruce. It was quite amusing. When producer Laura Shaw rang to tell me I'd been given a code name, I was very flattered. She said, "We've given Graham a code name, Bruce Wayne." Emmerdale has finally revealed the identity of the second body found on Moira Dingle's property, following a chilling discovery. In Friday's episode, police were initially called after a body was spotted on Moira's farmland, only for a shocking twist to unfold when they uncovered a second victim in the same grave. The grim scene unfolded after Ruby Milligan contacted authorities, believing she had stumbled across a burial site in a field on Moira's land. Her concern had grown after learning that Anya, the young woman she had tried to help, had been caught up in a human trafficking scheme orchestrated by Ray Walters and Celia Daniels. When Ruby spoke with Bear Wolf, he made cryptic remarks about someone being gone, and mentioned searching for her the day Ruby and her husband Caleb had encountered him in the field. He referenced a red ribbon tied to a specific spot, but then became confused and retracted his statements. Determined to investigate, Ruby sought out the ribbon, hoping it might reveal what had happened to the missing Anya. At first, she and Caleb couldn't find it, but panic set in when Ruby finally spotted it, tied to a branch. Her shock quickly turned to terror as she realized the marked area looked like a burial site, with disturbed earth hinting at something buried beneath. Fearing the worst, Ruby immediately suspected Anya might be dead. She called the police, reporting her discovery. Officers arrived swiftly, setting up a tent to examine the site. As Ruby and Caleb watched, their fears were confirmed when a body bag was carried to a van. Ruby, devastated, turned away, sobbing as she faced the grim reality. She assumed the body was Anya, a conclusion viewers now know to be correct. However, Caleb's attention was drawn to a second body being removed from the same grave. He informed Ruby that 2 people had died, leaving them both questioning who the other victim might be and why the bodies were on Moira's land. Spoilers have since revealed the identity of the second victim. Next week, Moira will be arrested on suspicion of murder and questioned about the 2 bodies. She soon learns that Celia Daniels is also dead, confirming that she is the second body in the grave. It appears that Ray, knowing Anya's location, dug up the grave to bury his mother Celia after killing her, potentially setting Moira up in the process. Whether Ray's actions were intended to frame Moira remains uncertain. Next week, she faces a double murder charge, but can she clear her name? Emmerdale airs weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and ITVX.